Hello, welcome back to my channel and thank you for watching. This is Sean from Zarz Comics and Collectibles and Comics. Tonight I'll be doing my normal Thursday night stream, but just doing something a little bit different. So I will be doing a live box break and I will be having a guest joining me in a little bit. Just going live a little bit early just to give some background on the cards and the box that I'm breaking. So we will be doing a live box break of Marvel Flair Upper Deck from 2024 cards. I will be having one of the featured artists on the cards joining me live while we're doing the break. So just getting this all sorted. So just to give a bit of a background on the cards. So the Upper Deck cards were dropped in 2024. They're a 90 card base set centered on the characters. More than that, it's all original art with a whole bunch of artists. I'll probably murder most of their names if I try to announce them. But anyone that's seen any of these cards will know that they're a really cool set. And I didn't really know that they were all original art until after speaking to the artist. And he was the one that told me that they were all original art and that he was doing a box break trying to find one of his original cards signed. So I figured I'd make an event out of it and get a box for myself. There's a lot of subsets in this series, so there's a lot of chances of getting some rarer numbered cards and harder to find cards, 1 in 10s, 1 in 25s, and so on. So I will break down the box. There is 4 cards per pack and 12 packs in the box. So 48 cards in this magical box. Cards are not as cheap and as easy to get sets of as they used to be. So everyone hopes for the big fancy cards when they're breaking boxes. So we'll see if we get lucky doing this tonight. I will quickly just show. So the artist's name is Ben. Give me 1 second. We've got someone in the background. How you going, buddy?
What's up?
How was your stream? Yeah, I seen Alien versus Aliens.
Got a lot of views, mate. At one point I had 50 people watching.
Okay. It's good. I'm sure Mark's controversial take on everything would have got the comments going.
I think it was just because of the title. I feel like it probably got pushed out to people who watch Aliens content because there was no way that many people on my vote. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's what I thought. My theory. Anyway, what's these cards, mate? Let's pull the shiny ones.
Yeah, first we're going to get the artist on. He's just jumped in backstage.
Oh, okay.
So you really should read the title, Simon.
I did see that. I was like, where is he? And then you put me on. I was like, oh, I can pretend to be the artist.
How you going, Ben?
Hey, guys. Hello. How you doing?
All right, let's find the best one. We'll probably stick with this. I was just giving everyone a rundown on what the cards were. I probably murdered it. But to start off, how do I pronounce your surname without murdering it?
Bradi.
Brady.
It's
Okay.
Bradi.
I was
Yeah.
close.
And
So how many people say Brady? Does everyone say Brady?
Only about 99%.
Okay.
But it's so good. I can go by both. I'm not one of those people that are like the correct people. I'm like, it's all good.
And do you prefer Ben or do you prefer your official name?
Oh, Benjamino. If you can get it right, that's well done. But no, Ben's fine. Ben's more than fine. They both my first name and surname are just annoying for others. So
Yeah, so
all good.
we'll just stick with BB.
Yeah, just Ben's fine. Yeah. That's cool.
So I was showing everyone that I've got a box that we're going to break tonight in the intentions of, how you going, Christina, pulling one of your cards. It'll be a miracle if we can pull a signature card.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Just where are you located, Ben?
I'm in Sydney.
Are you in Sydney? Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, I've been watching your videos, Simon.
Oh, really?
They're awesome. So yeah, I was just like, hey, I know that guy.
That's cool. Thanks, man. Are you doing Sydney Nova?
I am indeed. Yes, I'll be there this weekend.
Nice.
And Ben is also doing San Diego this year.
Wow.
I am indeed. Yeah. So that'll be a big one. So the anxiety will kick in week after next.
Have you ever been to one of those cons overseas?
I was. So the first time I was there was, I think, 2013. That was my first kind of stint of trying to kind of break in. But that was purely just as an attendee. This time around, I'm actually doing the artist alley, so get a little bit more exposure and things. So yeah, we'll see how we go.
I was going to say, would you prefer to be an attendee though to see all the cool stuff?
Yeah, that's the thing. I've got to. It's kind of like a bit of a. Yeah, it's not that great because I got to like stay at my table the entire time. So I got my wife coming with me, so she can hopefully mind it and allow me to have a bit of a peruse and look around. Nice. But yeah, otherwise I'll be there.
So, we'll discuss first. So I'm going to show the cards that Ben did in this set. So he was lucky enough to, well, not lucky enough, he's talented enough to have been given 9 cards in the set. So Dr. Doom is the first one in the run of cards he did. Then next up, we have Elektra, Ghost Rider, which is probably the card I would hope and pray that I would be getting.
It's a good one.
We have the Hulk. We have Iron Man, Miss Marvel, Captain America, Ant-Man, and lucky last, Shang-Chi. So first off, we'll start off with Ben. How do you get in to getting the opportunity to do cards for something like this?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but I can kind of give a bit of a sense of kind of where my head was in that time. You can tell there's like an election in the background. So big nerd over here. So I got my own little world of cards and collectibles myself. But yeah, I've always wanted to work in comics and also do the art. And I've always loved the cards, but I never thought that was a thing that existed, like as an opportunity to even work in. So I always just built a portfolio of work that was just things that I enjoyed painting, which was comic characters. So I did like a big piece of Wolverine and a big piece of Batman. And I think it was maybe 3 months after, I got the email from Upper Deck being like, hey, not sure if you've heard of us, but we'd love to work with you on a project. And I was like, I know that company. I've got your sets in my collection of cards. And then they were like, yep, it's Marvel. And I was like, head explosion. So that was a very crazy moment for me. And that was happening I think I was like 2022. It was just like as everyone was like stressing about COVID. So this was kind of like a cool thing to come through, and we're just like, oh, this would be amazing to focus on. Yeah, and then the list of characters was insane. Like you guys, like you went through them there. I was like, that's like if I could pick the characters I want. I think the only one that's missing is Wolverine. I was like, if I could have done that as well, that'd be great. But the fact I was given these amazing characters to play with, yeah,
So,
insane.
so do you have any say in the characters you get? Is it random? Is it assigned?
It's assigned in a way that they have like a kind of a character sheet, and so I guess they kind of like will give a certain artist certain amount of characters or whoever's like, and so but I had a massive list. Like they gave me a list of, I'd say at least 50 plus characters, and so I was able to pretty much pick the ones I wanted. Like I said, the only ones that were really missing were Wolverine and Spider-Man, but everyone else that I wanted was on there. So yeah, that was crazy. To get that, to be able to do that.
And is the list something where every character that was on your list ended up making the set, or was it that you just had 50 random characters to choose from?
No, I'd say they ended up getting picked in the set. I'd say the majority of them would have been picked and made it in the set. I think the way it kind of works, it's like this is me just guessing, but from what it seems like is like as the way they start to like commission artists, they will like find certain artists, like they'll get like, the high profile artists to work on like the bigger characters possibly. And then as they go and like introduce new artists like myself, they're like, oh, okay, we'll let them try these characters. And then the further down the line, I guess the later you join the project, the less characters you get to kind of pick from. So yeah, like in terms of like, I worked on another set, which was Marvel Platinum, which was just after this. And I came onto that near, I think, the end of that project. And there wasn't as many characters to pick from. So a lot of the big names were taken. So I kind of just got to pick those 5 that I got to work on.
And is the original piece like an A3, or what's the size of like the original piece that you do? What are you drawing on?
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. At the time when I was working, I was just doing everything digitally. So I wasn't doing anything traditionally yet. And it was only after literally after I finished working on the set, I started exploring the idea of doing oil painting. I've been doing traditional working again. And then also found out that there was this whole other space of art collectors and aftermarket being able to sell original pieces from the set. So I was like, whoa, okay, that would have been a mad opportunity to be able to offer it, because when the sets came out, all the collectors were in my DMs going, hey, would love to buy the original if you have it. And I just had to say, sorry, it's digital file. So there's nothing I can give for you, unfortunately. But I've learned my lesson, and that won't happen again.
Okay. Now, we're going to just so in chat. Dave, he's probably in Carolina at the moment getting ready for Heroes Con. So, is there any, I know you said the 9 characters are probably the ones you would have chosen, but was there anyone on that list that was an honorable mention that if you weren't happy with what you were drawing, you would have chose to be going to next?
As in to do it again kind of thing, or
more like, so who just missed the list? Who was the next in line if something went wrong?
Yeah, there was one character that I regretted not doing because I love the character, but I didn't realize that there was a big fan base around it. And so I don't know why I didn't pick it, but I'm kicking myself about it. But Magic was on there. And I was like, I just recently did a Magic painting, and I was like, I still look at that list and go like, I should have just picked it. But yeah, so I regret not picking Magic on that set.
Is there opportunities for those works if they're putting it on a card? Do they hold on to that art and then potentially use it for other stuff too? Like,
yeah, they do. Yeah, so technically the art officially is owned by Marvel. And like, if I was to reference, like, obviously I'm not Joe Jusko, but like Joe Jusko's card art that he did, that they became covers or used on covers and comics as well. So I think Marvel will definitely use the art if they can. Yeah. Nice. That'd be cool. I'd love for that to happen. Fingers crossed.
How you going, Locke? So, okay, we will break some of the cards, and then we'll talk a bit more about the art and the process. And for anyone watching the stream, Ben's links are in the description, and you really should jump on Instagram and check out the magic piece because it's really cool, very different, and the process, the little short you did showing the steps going through from the shading to getting to what it is really worth watching.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be able to put that out so people can enjoy. I think especially with like all the AI art going around, it's nice to be able to just post stuff and be like, look, it's an artist actually making the art. It's not a prompt. It's kind of cool.
So we're gonna see if you can bring some luck to this, Ben. The packets are on top of each other. Which one are we breaking first? 1 to 12.
Oh, geez. I'd have to say the closest one to you, mate. Let's go right to the back.
To me.
You're gonna blow on it too.
Yeah.
So we're going number 12. All right. Let's see.
So there we go.
Wait, how many cards are in the set again?
So there's 90 cards in the base set. We have 12 packets with 4 cards per packet. So we're getting we're getting just over half the set if we don't end up with any doubles. So I'm gonna do this blind, and I'm gonna show you the cards first before I see them. So so that's a question for you, Ben.
Yeah, Locke. My painting style is now oils. So majority of it is the oil painting. I'll do a base layer of acrylics wash, which is just to kind of add some color to the canvas, and then on top of that, it'll just be oils to finish it off.
So Ben, just for reference for you, you know the Gambit Rogue piece I showed you in the card?
Yep.
Locke is the artist who did that.
Oh, wow. Oh, beautiful, mate. That's awesome.
So cool. Locke, I showed him your awesome piece that you did for me, the Gambit and Rogue from C3. So you have a fan there in me and Ben.
Very nice, mate. Very nice.
First card up.
Yeah, Colossus.
We have Colossus. Then we have Craven. Galactus.
Ooh, shiny.
Flair.
So that is just the Solar Flare.
Yeah, it's one of the inserts.
And then we have
Winter Soldier.
Well, Winter Soldier. I'm not good at reading backwards. Pretty cool card. So I know the Solar Flares are limited, I think, to 1 in 25 packs, I think it is. Let's Solar Flares 1 in 36.
1 in 36, there you go. It's not bad. And you got Galactus, who's appearing soon, so
yeah.
Banger.
Cool card. Simon, 1 to 11. Let's go. Bring some luck.
9. It's my favorite number.
I like it. The cool thing about being on this set is like you're working with a bunch of other artists that got to contribute like their amazing work. And in doing so, you kind of become like this little kind of team of artists that you've just befriended. And we're like, oh, look, your stuff's awesome. And we're all kind of like somewhat stayed connected on Instagram and kind of like promote each other's work, which is really cool.
You do that at like conventions too, right? Like at cons, you guys get to meet all the other artists. And is there a big artist after party afterwards? Or
there kind of is. I wouldn't say it's a party. It's more of a social.
Like nerds talking about comic books.
yeah. It's kind of, like we party as much as a nerd does, but a few drinks and a few good chats. But yeah, that's always fun. I think that especially as an artist, like you kind of work between your 4 walls. You're always like just in your little spot. working in your studio, so it's nice to kind of get out there and actually meet other artists and just talk workshop pretty much. Yeah.
Ben, there's another question for you.
Yeah. Do I do commissions? I do. However, I've currently got them closed at the moment. I just need to get the commissions that I've got on my list. I got to get those done. So it's just there. Yeah, but thank you. I'll definitely notify on my socials when that opens up again.
So, Locke's saying they just catch up for a few beers. So, all right, let's go.
Is Locke from Sydney?
No, Locke's from America.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what I'm expecting him this weekend. No,
Locke does.
B2E.
I'm not sure if he does the bigger shows, but I know he does a few of the smaller shows across the states.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
sorry, wrong. He's actually from Toronto.
Get it right, Sean.
I'm sorry, Locke. I just assumed you were in the States going by the times that you're normally up streaming and stuff. So, let's do pack 2.
Yeah, nice.
Taskmaster. The Thing. Come on.
You need to get that second camera, mate.
I've ordered the stand so I can do it. I don't know why it doesn't want to. Let's put it at the back. What's this?
Oh, that's a good insert.
Is it? All right. So we got another iridescent.
Oh.
Yeah, those are nice and shiny.
Star-Lord. So I will have to admit, after looking at the artist list, I only really know one other artist who's on this list properly, which is Todd Nook.
Oh, Todd. Yep. Yeah, he's awesome.
And then let's see if we get now it shows. So we have the Thing. So pretty cool.
That's
so
awesome.
Dear and Descent, let's see, what are they number 2? So doesn't even say. Oh, 1 in 72 packs. So we're doing well so far. 2 picks. Well, for myself, I'm gonna go number 6. Then
I can't believe card packs only come with 4 cards. I don't remember them being like that back in the day.
You think about it, the box cost me $250 for 48 cards. Now imagine if I was trying to get the set. So I'd need to buy at least 2 boxes and hope I'm not getting a double in those 2 boxes. So
it's definitely tricky. That's why I buy singles. I get a box for fun and then I just buy the rest singles.
There we have Black Widow.
It's cool.
I'm assuming Black Panther.
Nihilus, I think.
Yeah, a Nihilus.
It is very Black Panther-y, though.
That's what they at the back.
Almost shiny every time.
Another Nihilus. Come on.
Got it.
Yeah, those cards are cool.
So this is a Chronicle Blasts. So I seen this card. Very Alex Ross remind me of his covers lately. The centerfolds or whatever you call them.
The timeless covers.
Then you got the Nihilus.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so it's now you've reminded me. Like, say it's like 2 base cards, then you get an insert, and then you get the Flareum in the set. So yeah, you're really only getting 2 of the base, and then the Flareum. And so that's you need a few boxes to try and collect the whole base set. Actually, I mean more than 2.
That's a 1 in 3 pack. Chronicle Blast. So Let's see. We'll do the chat before we keep going. So Locke is working on the next top Marvel set.
Very cool.
So what's the process? So you chose your characters. Did you know you were getting 9 instantly, or was it something you pick?
Yeah, no, they actually I got 10. One of the characters didn't make it. I don't know why. It just didn't make it into the set. But I got to pick 10 characters. And then after that, it's just a matter of just going through each one and doing the thumbnails, sending it through for approvals, seeing which compositions and layouts they like the most. But they were actually really great to work with, because by the third card, I would just send one sketch and they would give it the thumbs up, and I'll just go straight into the colors. So I was quite lucky in that. They tended to trust me after 2 or 3 cards, so it was good. Yeah.
And how do you be on that list of artists? Like, do you apply to do the cards, or do they reach out to you, say, hey, we love your art, we'd love to see you draw Hulk?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And
how's
that's
that
the
feel, man,
advice.
when they reach out to you? Are you like, is this real?
You think it's a scam at first, which is what I thought. I was like, all right, here they're coming from my wallet. But then I was like, no, the email looks legitimate, and okay, we'll see if this is real. And then once you get a contract, you're like, okay, this is definitely real.
That's cool.
They just reach out, and it's the thing I say to a lot of artists who are like up and coming and wanting to kind of break in, is just like, just do the art that you enjoy, and do the art that's like for the work that you kind of want to work on. Like if you want to work on comic book covers, or if you want to work on card art, do art that fits that criteria that you could see on a comic book cover, and then you're likely to get, noticed and be like, hey, they understand the IP, they understand like the formatting of a comic book, or the formatting of how a card should work. We can trust them to, give them a chance. So there are a lot of studios, like I felt like Upper Deck, especially with these sets, like how you mentioned, you weren't aware of many of the artists. I think they did try and look for artists to try and kind of break in. Like they were looking for like a few, like myself, never been in the industry, guys that like had, I guess, the ability, but just hadn't been given a chance. So a lot of us coming on, it was like our first, if not second set that we were on. So yeah.
That's cool.
Okay. And on the list they gave you, is there like any more detail into the character? Like, are they saying Hulk, 90s Hulk or thing, or is it just Hulk?
No, it definitely is. Yeah, so you get a character kind of brief of like which costume, like which era of the character. Like there was one character that I did, that one of the ones that didn't make it, I had never actually seen that character in that costume. So I was like, oh, that's not the one that I had hoped to draw. But I was like, that's cool, I'll work with it. But everything else was kind of what I thought, except for the Iron Man. That was another one where I was like, I would have liked the more classic suit Iron Man, but it was the kind of more modern version. So they definitely give you a brief, and it has to stick to that look. Like even the Shang-Chi one, that was another one I wasn't familiar with his outfit, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I'll work with that one.
And is there description in saying like, we want this character full body, or we want bust or headshot?
No, that's pretty much up to us. The artist can kind of decide. Like I said, like I'll give him 2 options. So I did kind of try and make a little bit of variety. Like we have like kind of more of a static piece where like the character's more heroic stance, or an action piece, and see which one they went for. But they seem to always like the action piece. So then I just did the action pose for all of them, and they were like, yep, sweet, go with that. So I think it's whatever makes for a more striking image. They'll go with that, which is pretty good.
They can crop it too, because those Alex Ross timeless pieces, they're actually like not I don't know if they're full body, but I don't know if you've seen, there's versions of it where it's actually zoomed out and you see much more of them. So they've actually cropped those covers.
Yeah, I think those were made. I think he did those all full body to be like actually displayed, like as a massive piece. Like all of the characters standing in unison. That's why I have the same similar lighting. Yeah, that's insane task to do.
He's done so many now.
Yeah.
So Locke is saying that Upper Deck treats their artists a lot better. So
Okay.
yeah.
They were definitely a lot of fun to work with. So and yeah, I still kind of keep in touch with them. So yeah, they're pretty good.
Let's do some more packs and then we'll get some more questions. Simon, you're up again. We got 3, 6, 9.
I'm going to go number 9 again.
You're no fucking fun.
It's gonna be lucky eventually.
Yeah. You can't go 9 again next time because there is a 9 package left.
Yeah, I was going to say, what happens when there's 8 packs? What is cool, I'll point out as well that kind of blew my mind when they released the set. You'll notice on the front of the actual wrapping, my Shang-Chi made it to the marketing material, which was pretty insane. Like that was huge for me. I was like,
wow,
geez, he's
that's
there.
cool.
Look at him on there. So that was so cool. Bit of an honor to be placed there.
It's kind of like making the cover, right?
Yeah, it totally is, right?
Alrighty.
So that was insane. Oh, you did.
Number 9, baby.
But it's not quite, Simon.
What?
But yeah, we got one. That's good.
Thanks.
The Human Torch.
Yeah, it's cool.
Namor.
Never seen that
Cool.
Which is another Solar Flared. And lastly,
Spider-Man.
we have Spider-Man. Alrighty. So I'm going to go with pack 1. See if the first pack out of the box gives us some luck. Okay. We have Carnage.
This one's good. I really like the art on that one. So good.
Hercules.
Oh, Power Blast.
Mr. Fantastic Power Blast. And now we have Black Panther. So, all right. Ben, you have 7 packets.
I'll go for 3. Number 3, please.
Alrighty, let's see. So we've done 1 out of 9 and we're halfway through. Let's see if we can knock out
a few
2
more.
in 1. So start off. We have Black Knight.
That's a good one.
Emma Frost. If she'll thing.
That's nice.
Another Solar Flare. Jean Grey. And Scourge. Alright. So an image like that, would that have been something where they suggest having more characters in?
Yeah, I'd say so. Just because of the workload. I'd say most artists would probably go for a simpler composition. Something like that would definitely be by request. And I think that those cards were, because their briefs were a little more, because it's the Flareum set, all the characters are highlighted, but they needed to kind of, if you notice, they'll all have like a little bit of a story or kind of like a key comic book moment that they kind of represent. So you'll notice with the whole Flareum set that they would have had a much more stricter brief where it would have been like, it needs to be this scene for this character, as opposed to just the character.
How long do they give you to do your 9 pieces?
How long do they give me? I think I had 2 months to do them. So something like that.
Is that difficult? I don't know. I'm not an artist. So is that, it sounds difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult if you still have a full-time job. Like how I did. Yeah, it was, but I kind of gave my I think like it's this is kind of like take your shot kind of moment where you're just like
Yeah.
gonna go for it. Who needs sleep? And
If you
so
had one opportunity.
yeah, exactly. It's like mom spaghetti. It's all good. We're gonna do this. Yeah, so I think I set myself a target of like one a week, and then I think I was getting through them pretty comfortably. And then they asked, "Oh, would you want to?" Sorry, initially they offered me 8, and I was getting through them pretty comfortably. And they said, "Oh, would you do another 2?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And so then I squeezed in an extra 2 in that same deadline, which was good. But yeah, I was literally barely slept those 2 months. Probably not a good thing,
Okay.
but worth it because that was a lot of fun.
Going back to the 90 or whatever people you said there was on the list they sent you.
Yep.
What was the breakdown on like popular characters to say your more unique characters? Like, was it like a 50-50? Was it 80-20?
Yeah, nah, probably 80-20. I reckon like 20 being the popular characters and then kind of 80 being the like lesser, like kind of the B list, C list characters. Still, all of them are quite fun to work with because it's still like characters you've grown up with. So you're just like, what could I do with this character? Like, regardless of like whether or not I knew the story, it was always good. Like to go and just try and understand. Like for instance, Miss Marvel was something that I knew nothing about, but I just thought she was just an interesting character, and I was like, I'd like to play with that character and see what I can kind of do with her and do something dynamic because she has all these like stretchy limbs and stuff. I was like, I could kind of make it for a fun image. So yeah, it wasn't always just based on like the characters I knew, but yeah, I'd say there's a lot more Less Alone for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have thought it would be the other way. They'd want their big name characters there to sort of attract people and throw in a few lesser knowns here and there.
I think those go to the I guess bigger name artists would probably get those offered to them just to bring them aboard. So if you want to get like the big names in, they want to do probably the higher popularity characters because those pieces will go for a lot more as well. So on the secondary market. So yeah, it's a bit of a. I think it's a thing. I think so anyway. That's my theory.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to some packs. So I'm just going to do some randoms. I'm going to go the 2 middle and the last one. Leave the last 3. Hopefully, we get some more Ben greatness.
Jeez, yeah, it's a tough ask, eh? Think about it.
I'm happy I got it. I'm happy I got at least one. So I got a
Yeah,
card to get you the sign the next time I see you.
yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, you probably got one of my better pieces too. Like that, I love that Doom. It's so cool.
You got Spider Woman.
It's cool.
Who the fuck is that?
Hulkling.
Who the hell is Hulkling? Oh, Hulkling. I didn't know Hulkling had wings.
Yeah. I'm not aware of that character that well.
Kang.
Oh, you got a numbered
Card. So we have a 250 out of 299. I don't know if you can see the number there. And we have Doctor Doom, but obviously a different Doctor Doom.
Yep. There's a few Dooms in this set.
Yeah, this is from the God Emperor type Doom.
And that's Thanos cameo.
And
Is
then
that his fine, is it?
go a little bit closer. This is doesn't say what it is.
Yeah, they had like seasons, I think. It's on the bottom left, I think. It'll say like fall or summer or spring.
Fall Flare.
There you go. Yeah. It was all seasonal.
That's interesting.
Mm.
So, did they? I know they gave you free reign, but was there anything about the tone? Like, did they want darker coloring? Did they want lighter coloring? Was
There
it?
definitely was some like Disney-esque rules that you kind of had to abide by, like nothing too violent. The costuming had to always be like in perfect nick, like no damage, like battle damage or anything like that. And obviously like couldn't be too like sexy, like not too much revealing. So like I did have a issue with my Electra piece. Obviously, it's difficult to draw Electra with all of the moving parts of the materials, and you want to play with that. But I had to keep moving the material to cover a little bit more because it was just a little too much. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I kind of like tried to push it as far as I could, and I was just like, no, a little bit more. And I'm like, okay, it's cool.
Wait,
Yeah,
so
so I, just
did
fair
you
enough.
submit a piece and they said you've got to tone it down a little?
Yeah, the Electra piece.
Yeah, the Electra piece. Yeah, so
Oh, like,
I think I did. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, had you already done it, and then they said, "Oh, can you cover up a little bit more of it?" Like, did they, or did you make that decision yourself?
No, no, no. They asked. They asked. I
Wow.
had a little bit of yeah, it's a little bit more of her rear showing. I suppose it's on the if you have a look on the site, yeah, if you go back to the card there, you'll see what I mean.
So your
There's
Electra.
yeah on the Electra, yeah, so you can see there just her rear, that fold that's going over the, I guess the back side of it, that was a lot more lifted up, and so you could see a little bit more
It's
of a
too much
curve.
shape there, man.
Yeah, it's a little too curvy. And I was like, I get it, I get it. So I had
But
to
what
bring
happens
that
if you
down.
did do like an oil piece?
What's that? Oh, what if it was? Well, I think what I would have done is I would have just done it, the edits digitally. I would have
Okay,
kept
yeah, that
the
makes sense. Yeah,
original
sorry. Yep.
and
Yep.
just, yeah, once it's scanned in, I'll just digitally edit it. Yeah, and that happens to a lot of us that also work traditionally. They'll just edit it later.
All right.
Yeah.
So we have.
Dave wants to see Ben's Doom again. I think he's already sold the piece, Dave. If that's what you're getting at.
I showed it. So we got a Mega Red. This
Yeah.
is an embossed.
Badge
Oh,
flare. Yeah, it's
I've
like
only got I've only got 2 cards in this packet,
Oh,
so I
see, that's
didn't even
crazy.
get
Isn't
my fucking 48 cards. We have Spider-Man. So this is a badge flare Omega Red.
Mm.
So it's like a piece of material
Yeah,
with
that's
Omega Red.
crazy. Oh, I saw on Instagram the other day these guys are doing a pack break of I think it was like basketball cards, and there was only one card in the pack, and it's because that one card folded out into 3 pieces that had bits of people, like it was like 20 players and had bits of their jerseys and stuff like that. But
Oh
it was just
wow.
one card in there that folded out.
Well, I had 2 cards in this, but this is a 1 in every 6 packs. So it's not like it's even a 1 in every 72
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
100 and
Wow.
something where you say, yeah, I lost 4 cards to get this.
Yeah, not a great pull if we can put it that way.
They
I will warn you, Sean. There is also a single card in a pack as well. I
Yeah,
don't know if you've got one of those, but in this set, I know there is one. They're like a special. They're a little. I think they're a little more special, but yeah, they take up the whole.
I don't mind getting 1 cards in packs if they're like what Simon said. I've gotten cards
Yeah,
that pull out to 3 or pull out to 2, but at
yeah,
least make it the rare card, not
Yeah.
1 in 6. So realistically, I could go get 2 of those cards in this box, and I've lost 8 cards out of my set for
yes.
those two cards or 6 cards. Sorry, because it's only 4 cards a pack. We got
Wait,
Kang,
did you already pull that one?
but the one I pulled was a numbered
Okay.
variant.
You should
So
get another numbered. I feel.
Doctor Strange. We have another shiny. This is, come on,
Noir.
Spider-Man Noir. And
Better.
Better Bill.
Beta Ray. Come on. Focus. You're normally pretty good there.
There we go. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I still haven't finished collecting my set of Flair.
I don't think I'll be attempting to collect the rest. So if I have anything you need, hit me up.
I was gonna say, like, I've got a few, so I can send some your way as well if you did want to go for it.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see if in these last 3 packs I get something that
That's
makes me think that it's worth keep going.
Yeah, man.
So just going back to the thought process, all right? So the Doctor Doom, would that have been something where they're saying we want him doing, like, if they have a signature sort of pose or a move, would they suggest that signature move or pose, or would it be not?
No, complete freedom. Yeah, it's complete freedom. It's actually pretty insane. Yeah, how liberal they were with me in terms of like what their expectations were. It was just like those rules that I guess the kind of Marvel Disney rules in terms of like what not to do, but everything else was on the table. So yeah, it was great as an artist to be like, oh, I'd like to try this. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We'll show the back because I haven't showed the back on anything yet. So we have obviously comic where they're sort of stealing the image from who the original artist and writer stuff was. And then if it was I like the fact that they're getting better at doing, obviously, that it's a base card.
Yeah,
So you know, and naming them.
They did an amazing job of actually even highlighting the artist and giving every artist like a little summary of their kind of career, and like each one was like a little bit different as well. Like for all of the cards I was on, there was like a different little kind of, I guess, blurb, which was pretty cool. And they did that on their own accord, which I was just like, oh wow. They actually went through my like LinkedIn and my portfolio and made up a little kind of like, oh, this is what Ben's been up to, which is kind of cool.
Well, it looks like they put in some effort.
Yeah. I know there was a bit of backlash from the Platinum set because they hadn't credited the artists. And I think they went the other way and went like, nah, we got to make sure we don't do it again.
I think I've made that criticism before with Simon when I was showing my other cards, because I've got a whole bunch of sketch cards done by people and you have no clue who the artist is. Some just have those unique signatures that you can't really read, and it wasn't the easiest finding artist lists and stuff like it is these days, where you can just go on the site and everything's there. So, but I do have a few random ones. So I tend to get lucky, but I normally have full boxes, not hobby boxes of 12 packets when I buy boxes. So let's see. We're getting into the final 3 packs. Let's see if we can get
Good luck, man. Thanks, man.
Come on. Cool. Yay.
Ooh. There you go.
2 out of 9.
Well done. That's actually pretty good, man. That's some good odds.
Medusa, and Thanos. I've seen this card in the list. This, I'd have to admit, is a pretty cool piece.
Yeah, that's Wayshak. Jonathan Wayshak. He's pretty cool. Good dude.
So it says, throughout his career, Ben Bradi created artwork for projects such as comics and slot games. He eventually became an art director.
There you go.
It's strange that someone would wrote
What
that up.
slot games can we find you on?
There's a number of them, and they're all available in the UK and USA. Yeah, so that's the day job, by the way. So like I build I do art for a lot of online gaming sites.
Oh, so just online machines, not actual
Yeah.
physical machines.
Oh, I did start in land based, like what was it? 12 years ago. But now it's now it's just all online. All the money's online.
Thanks, Locke. And Madam, thank you for jumping in.
You know,
I gotta bail, Sean. So hurry up. Well, one more pack, and I gotta go.
Well, I got 2 more packs, but we'll do one, and then you can bail.
I'll watch the last pack on my phone.
So we have Sprite, a Sprint. Come on. Silver Surfer.
Oh, that's a good one.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Power Blast. That's actually a pretty good card. Yeah, Daredevil too. I think that's Bianchi as well.
Come on, Daredevil. It is, yeah, Simone.
Yeah, nice.
All right.
Thank you, Christina.
I'm gonna bow, guys. Ben, nice to meet you. Hopefully, I'll meet you at a con one day.
Nice to meet you, Simon.
Sean, I'll speak to you soon, mate.
No, take care, dude.
Yeah, nice, man. Picked up 2 good ones there.
We got 2 out of 9, so I'm not going to
Not
complain
bad.
with that. Yeah. All right, we'll do a few more questions, and then we'll get into the last one, and then I'll let you go because I know you got a lot to do.
That's all good.
Is there any benefits from them for doing it? Like, do they send you anything after the set's getting ready to release, or do they do any promotional stuff that involves you?
Unfortunately not. No, there's not much of that. The promotional stuff actually came from more of the like card collecting community that reached out and were like, hey, we'd love to have you on our show and talk about the art and things. But in terms of Upper Deck themselves, I know that there was like mentions that they were going to try and do a little bit more to kind of like help the artists like in future sets, but yeah, it wasn't at the time. No, it was very kind of like I didn't even know when the set came out. It just one day popped up on my Instagram feed, and I was like, oh, there it is. I was like, finally.
It is a bit weird because it does say 2023 in some things you look up. Some things it says 2024, so you don't know which actual year it's from and what you're looking at exactly.
Yeah, I think that had to do with the fact that like they lost the license for Marvel, and they acquired the DC license, and so they had a backlog of product because they had obviously had planned out years ahead, like all this product was already in the works, and so they ended up releasing like all of the product last year. Like I think it was something crazy, like 30 plus sets came out all in 1 year because it had to be done before the Marvel license transferred to Topps. So yeah, that was I think that's why it was all kind of like backed up, and it was like it was a bit of a crazy year because you had like 2 masterpieces sets like a year apart, and then you had obviously the Marvel Platinum set, and then there was Ultra Fleer. There were like 2 or 3 Ultra Fleers in 1 year. Like it was crazy. So I think they didn't have time for marketing. It was just like pump it out.
Okay. Yeah. And I know you were commenting on how your Shang-Chi made the pack art. There was no communication or no saying we thought your piece was great. You made the packaging or anything like that.
Nah, none of that. They said it at the time. The art directors that I worked with were lovely and were really complimentary, like working with me, and like they loved everything I did. But yeah, once everything was submitted, I didn't really hear from Upper Deck unless it was for like newer projects or something else that I was working on at the time. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, let's get into
Final packet.
lucky 12.
Yep.
Let's hope we get another
They
pack.
said there's this last pack magic, so let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope.
Get it your way.
Maybe we get a signature. I doubt it. I don't think my luck's that much.
Well, I feel like you're owed still a numbered card. Because you only got one.
You think I should get 2?
I believe so. I feel like you should have gotten 2 at least.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Locke was saying that 5 got released in December alone, and he only found out when he got tagged on their pull.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was a crazy like back end of last year.
All
right, let's get to this last packet. Psylocke, I'm assuming.
No, I don't know who.
Come on.
Can't read that.
Cersei.
There you go.
Phoenix.
That's a nice card.
I don't think there's ever a Marvel set without a Phoenix card in there.
Probably a good rule to have.
Miss Marvel, not Captain Marvel, not Miss Marvel, Solar Flare, and Captain America, but not your Captain America.
No, it's another Wayshak, I think.
Yep. So George Perez and Ron Lim original art. So 2 out of 9 and 1 numbered card. Few solar flared.
Yep.
Can't complain. I would say I would have liked a bit more, but yeah, it's good enough.
You're going to end up grabbing another box.
We'll see. I don't think there's too many left around available that easy to get your hands on anymore.
Yeah, it is interesting that it does kind of that whole Upper Deck era with Marvel has ended, right? So it's now all about tops.
So like before you physically told me that you were on the set, I don't think I had seen a box of these anywhere.
Yeah, they were literally just came out, and like I think they came out and they had 2 weeks, and then there was like I think it was Wolverine Ultra Fleer or something came out. Like they were crazy how quick the sets were coming out.
Thank you, Christina. Have you decided what you're doing with your box? You keeping it sealed? You breaking it?
I'm keeping it sealed at the moment. I don't know what. Like I feel like I'd like to just keep a sealed box of each set that I kind of worked on, but I'm missing one already because the Marvel Platinum ones are like 500 at the moment. So I'm just like, it's a bit steep to go back. I did open 3 of them though, so I should have just kept one of those. That's my own fault. I did that. But yeah, I'll keep mine sealed for now. If I ever break it, I'll let you know. I'll come back on and be like, all right, let's do this.
So, in saying that, in your own collection, have you got your 9 cards yet?
Yeah, I've got all 9. I don't know if you can see it, but that frame up there actually has all of mine signed.
Okay.
So that's like I went and did like I was like I gotta do something to kind of like commemorate. It's like it's kind of a big moment as an artist to be kind of part of something like this. So I ended up getting my 5 signature cards for my parents. They've got that framed at their place, and then I got this. It's just like for me and for my boys to kind of be like, oh look, Dad did a thing. So it's kind of cool.
So when you say your 5 signature cards, your actual signed cards from the packets?
Yeah, the actual pulled cards. Yeah, I actually had to chase and talk to collectors and be like, oh, I'll buy that off you, and yeah, go on ComC and try and eBay. Okay. It was a bit of a mission I set myself when they came out. I was like, it'd be nice, because the cool thing is when they send you out the cards, this is actually kind of interesting, is like when they send you out the cards to sign, it's kind of just a little bit out of the blue. They're just like, oh, there's a delivery coming, and then you're like, okay, cool, and then you have like 2 days to sign it and send it back. So you had to get through all the signatures, send it all back. And when you're getting it in your hand and you're actually seeing your art on the card, it's like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And then you're like, and my dad was like, why don't you just keep one? I was like, no, I got to send that back because it doesn't belong to me. But I was like, at that moment, I was like, I've got to go back and get these in a way. It'd be nice to have one of each.
How many of each card get signed?
It depends. So for the Flair set, there were 33 signatures per card. For Platinum, it varied, but it was in between 40 and 60 ish cards that were signed.
So it's a reasonably easy to find a signed card. Then you're not chasing like a 1 of 1 or a 1 of 5.
Yeah, no, there's
signature card.
no chance of that. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Like I'm a Electra collector, so I did collect down to like the out of 25s. And I kind of stopped there because then it just gets ridiculous. It's just way too expensive.
And did you ever pull one of your own signature cards, or is it all a purchase thing?
Yeah, it was all purchased. But I did get a few cool moments where I jumped on. It was like 2 streams, like really early on when the set came out, and in both streams, one of them I was in the chat, and they pulled a Ghost Rider signature, and then in the other one I was actually in the online streaming, and they pulled another Ghost Rider signature, which was pretty insane. So I was just like, hey, that's pretty crazy odds for that to happen.
You have a question from Locke, the other artist.
Yeah, talk about my process of creating a painting. Yeah, definitely. I kind of start off with, if I know the character well, I don't need to do too much research. But if I don't, I will do a little bit of research and kind of look at like images that I find striking, and then I'll try to like develop some like 2 or 3 thumbnails that I feel like would be kind of cool to paint personally, and that kind of like reflect, I guess, the feeling of the character, or kind of like what makes them awesome in terms of their costume as well as their abilities and such. So once I've got those thumbnails, that just gets sent across to the art director, and they'll usually approve one. And then at that point, I go through, now that I work traditionally, I'll go through and do like a digital kind of mock-up, like of the actual painting that I'm going to paint. And that includes doing like a full pencil rendering, but digitally, and doing a bit of a color block in, just so that I've kind of do all my problem solving digitally so that it's quicker. Because I don't want to be doing that on the canvas. I want that to be nice and clean. And so once I've got that pretty much locked off, that gets sent off as well to the art director to get like a final approval. And normally at that time, I would just finish that digital painting. But nowadays, I will literally take that, transfer it onto a canvas, and paint the whole thing fresh. So that's kind of how my process is now. And trying to find that fine line of still working traditionally, but still being able to work quickly as well, because I know that's quite important when you work commercially or professionally.
When you're creating your thumbnails and you're doing your research, are you looking for in like super detailed research, like the images you're looking at? Are you looking for high detailed, high thing, or are you just looking for like basic layouts, basic looks of the characters?
Yeah, like most of the characters I'm quite familiar with, but I will kind of look at, like if you just search up a character, people will like if you look at people will auto post like the best work of that character will come up. And so that can kind of inspire you to be like, oh, that's really cool, or that's a nice color palette, or I wasn't thinking of that. I try not to get too much influence, because I want my piece to be its own thing. And I do have like my style that I want to kind of keep consistent. But it is kind of nice to look at like other imagery that, especially when you're not familiar with them. Like one of them was like Miss Marvel, and it doesn't have to even be in my style, but just looking at comic art and how she's drawn, and it's kind of like this fun and like this nice line work and very clean. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I can somehow try to bring those ideas into what I'm doing.
Okay. And is so like, I know I'm not an artist in any way, but I know in like just even my collecting, I like to sort of look at the unique side of things in what I collect. Do you approach? I know you said you want to keep your style, but do you look at it as saying I'll stick to the more known characters because they're going to be more popular, or you're thinking to yourself like I'll pick that unique out of the box character to sort of make a statement, and it can either go good or bad for you.
Yeah, I think I definitely would. Like, there's a lot of characters that like I still want to paint. Like, I've been in comics for a long time across Marvel, DC, and Image. So there's a lot that I still have like a list of characters that I wishing to paint. And if I get the opportunity to do it commercially, I'll definitely like pick that. If I've not done it yet. But yeah, if I ever come to a point where I've kind of done everyone that I've always wanted to do, then I'll go into like the more obscure characters. But yeah, I think it's a little difficult. I think I kind of like everything, which is hard. It's like when you've been in it since a kid, yeah, you've kind of grown up with all these characters. So I'm kind of like I'd love to do every single X-Men character. I'd love to do like the entire like Daredevil like villains line, and like I'd love to do like all the Batman villains line. Like there's just so much good stuff out there to get
So,
through.
so you don't want to you don't want to do anything else but paint for the rest of your life.
Pretty much, yeah. That is what I currently do is technically my retirement plan. Like it's still what I want to do when I'm an old man. So yeah.
Simon has a question for you. It's which comic artists were most influential to you, Ben, that made you want to be an artist?
Yeah, that's an easy one. It's probably everyone's, but yeah, I grew up in like '90s kid with all the comics, and Jim Lee was it. It was Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane were the artists that were really kind of making these huge strides in their style and like their dynamism and composition. So their work was always so striking. So my original, like I always wanted to actually be a comic book illustrator. Like I actually tried to make, like I did interior pages and did the whole thing to try and do that. But there was a lot of work to that, and it wasn't something that I was enjoying as much as I loved reading. I wasn't enjoying the process as much. I just like to draw cool images. So in terms of my art, it's like I'm still very comic influenced. So I love doing like dynamic, like foreshortening and just making things really interesting. But I'm still also very influenced by the cards that I also grew up with at the time. So Hildebrandt and Joe Jusko and Julie Bell, Boris Vallejo, all of those artists that did those sets, those masterpieces sets, is where I kind of lean more now, because that's always some art that I would treat as like the gods of artists at the time as a kid. Like we grew up with like amazing like inks and pencils and comics, and then you see your characters translated in this realistic, stylized way, and it feels like something that like a Da Vinci would have done, and you're like, oh wow, I've never seen that before. So when I think of my work now, those are the artists that I kind of pull from. Yeah, but I'm kind of all over the place. Like I also am massive into like Bill Sienkiewicz, so I would love to try and do something that he does, but he's just his own thing. I don't think you can mimic it. Otherwise, it just looks like you're mimicking it. But yeah, his work's insane.
Do you approach doing a piece for, say, a card different than you would approach doing a piece for, say, a cover or any
Yeah,
of your
definitely.
other projects?
Yeah, definitely. That when I'm working through like card art is it's usually like pin-uppy in a way, and it's more about you have very small like area that this image is viewed, so you can't get too highly detailed, and it needs to read pretty well. So yeah, I guess it's more about the character, and like the larger they can kind of be in frame, the better that the card's going to look. Whereas with comics, it's all about storytelling. So you really got to sell what's happening inside the book on the cover, unless you've been requested to do a pin-up of like just the character, which variant covers usually are these days. But yeah, if you're going to do like an actual comic book, which I've not gotten to do as yet, but I am in that mindset, I would be thinking in terms of the story and what's going to sell the story. So it's more you got to create. It's like a balance of the storytelling of what's inside the book to get the person to pick up the cover, pick up the book, and actually purchase it and read it, as well as making a dynamic image that looks great on a shelf and will make people want to buy it.
Oh, we have another question from Locke. Question statement. Early work in acrylics. This is all jargon talk to me.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll read it out. So Locke's pretty much, so he works in acrylics. Do I do washes in an underpainting style? And then paint on top using oil. Yes, that's the way I work, Locke. And I work very thinly when you mentioned dry time. So my washes are obviously like broken down with terps so that they kind of dry really quick. When I'm doing my oils, sorry, this is so once I've done like an acrylic wash, which is just in like burnt umber, and then I'll sometimes use a little bit of color if I need to, but I usually just do just a single tone. I'll then go into oils wash, which will be pretty broken down with the terp so that it also dries really quick, and I can work on that again the following day with just oils. And I will work very thinly. I don't put too much paint on my brush. So again, the canvas dries rather quick, and it also allows the canvas to stay quite smooth. So you don't have too much like bumps and such that you need to kind of maneuver. And then that I will usually allow, once I've got all the colors down, I'll allow that to dry for about a week. And then I'll go on top of that with oils, but with a little bit of linseed oil, which will break down the oil and make it a little bit oilier, but allow me to glaze on top and just highlight some areas, and then any more finessing and detailing I will do on that last pass. So yeah, total time for my process, like if I'm doing, if I was to do a card piece like this, I would probably try and do everything on the first day or two and let it dry for 5 days. And then I would try and get the wash done on the final day. I haven't done that yet. I think my quickest so far has been 10 days, which was the magic piece I just recently posted. But yeah, I'm trying to get quicker, but the medium does need you to like actually wait to let it dry. So that I can't do anything about. Yeah.
Okay. And
sorry about that, Sean. There's a whole bunch of like
so I know you said you did digital, and obviously I know most artists would prefer doing the hands-on painting thing, but do you think your work digitally comes out in any way or form close to what your painting does, or is it just like two completely different things?
Very different, and it's annoying as an artist because I want to maintain the same quality of my work throughout, but I do find I'm still kind of like, I'm only new to oil painting. I've only been doing it for, it's not even been 2 years. I started middle of last year, or started last year. I started doing oil paint, so I'm quite new to it. So I'm still learning my way around it. My digital work will always look a lot more sharper and crisp because it just is. You can really get in there really tight. There is no resolution that you need to kind of deal with when you're dealing with digital. Like you can go as big as you want and get as detailed as you want. When you're working traditionally, you're limited by the canvas. So there is some pros and cons to that. The pro is that it makes you spend less time on the piece. You're not like putting detail that doesn't need to be there. So you're actually focusing in the areas and you plan a lot better. Whereas with digital, you can go over time just because you just can keep fiddling with it very easily, and there's no issue. If anything goes wrong, you can just Control Z, go back. Whereas traditionally, like it's very linear. I just like everything is very kind of like I do this and then I do this and I do this, and it's just all the way to the end. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't feel like right now my style. You can pretty much tell like when something is painted and when something's digital, and I'm okay with that because I think that's a good thing as well. Like I think people saying it like, oh, this is an actual painting. And when I bring it to shows and people look at it, they think it's a print because I work quite thinly, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting there. Like for me, that's like, oh, cool. I'm getting close to the level that I'm trying to kind of like get my traditional to look as good as my digital does. Yeah, that'll be a forever journey.
Oh, I can only imagine. I think artists just keep wanting to get things more and more detailed, more and more finessed, and
Yeah, I think there's a confidence, I think, as an artist that you start to develop. And yeah, the dry time does kill me. Yeah, it's rough. Acrylic is definitely easier. I've got to yet still try acrylic. I don't know why. I should definitely give that a go. But yeah, the reason I work with oils is that there is a little bit of kind of erase that I can kind of do. I can kind of work backwards. Like you can get some pulps and wipe away some paint if you made a boo boo. But yeah, I think yeah, as an artist, you're always like, nah, this is still not good enough. It's never good enough. So be it.
okay. Well, don't want to keep you crazily too long, so
No, you're right,
we'll,
man. You're right. This is fun.
we'll go. What's your first bit of advice to anyone who's thinking to pick up? I'm not going to say just a brush, but even a pencil to try and get into this world. What would you say the first thing they need to have in their head?
I think you just got to stick to it. I think that's all it is. I think the artists that are artists professionally are just the ones that just didn't stop drawing. And that's really what it comes down to. Like a lot of people talk about talent and things, and I always kind of dismiss it because I just go, look, if you're passionate about something, you'll do it regardless of whether you're getting paid. And then someday someone will pay you for it because you'll be good enough. And so I think that's where it comes down to. Like if you love drawing art and you hope to do that one day as a paid professional, just keep doing it because you'll probably do it anyway, and then someday someone will pay you for it. So yeah, just don't stop.
Okay. And has there been any advice that you have gotten from anyone that stuck with you?
Oh geez, you might need another hour. There's a lot. Thanks, Locke. Thank you, mate. There's a lot. I think one of the biggest things is if you let me try and summarize it real quick. If there's an artist that you like their work and you like what they're doing and you want your work to look like theirs, find out how they do what they do. That's literally it. Like I watch all the artists. Like I have every artist in the world. I enjoy their work, and I'll go and watch their process videos if they post it on Instagram or if they post it on YouTube. I'll listen to talks, just find out how people who do the work. That'll push you along really quickly, and then also find out how they actually studied to get there. Like for me, one thing that actually I will say was a big thing for me. Let's see if I can grab it. I don't have it with me. However, there's several books on anatomy. And I think something for me that was a huge thing was there's an artist called Ian McKay who had put out there that there is this book that it's called George Bridgman's Complete Guide to Anatomy. And there's others, Loomis, also another great book. And he would draw every single drawing in that book every year in order to kind of like improve his anatomy and his understanding of drawing the figure. And I just did that. I literally it's like a 400 page book. There's like hundreds of drawings in there. And I just drew every single one. And it was a lot of work. I think it took me like 6 months to do finally. But after the end of that, I was pretty comfortable drawing the figure. And that literally just come down to just like knuckling down and being like, all right, this is what I need to do to be able to draw. So I'm just going to do it. And it worked. It totally did work. So there is like a bit of like hard work involved in trying to kind of get better as an artist. Some of it is just doing the work, is just practicing and studying. And then the other is just not stopping, just keep getting better. Yeah. So I think that, find your weaknesses and attack them is the thing I always say. Like I used to feel like I couldn't do portraiture. That was for only like certain artists can do that. And then one day I got fed up and I was like, I'm going to learn portraiture. And then I learned how to do portraiture. Now I can do likenesses. And that took me like a few months of study. And I think like everybody can do that. You just have to literally put in that time to study it. Similarly with colors, like I said, I started doing pencils for interiors. I had no idea that I would ever do colors. And now I'm doing oil painting purely because I was just like, all right, I'm sick of digital. I want to try and learn something else and just keep pushing, keep learning. Yeah.
Okay. This might be a hard to pull question. Do you remember what your first piece was that you would say you considered like your first folio piece?
Oh, that's hard. Geez, I don't know. As in, like, that got me a job or that got me something? Is that kind of
No,
what you mean?
that first piece that you did that you would say, like, I think this is like a
It's
piece that I
achievable.
could show, like I could show people, and it'll get me like a step in the door or my foot in the door in
Yeah,
some way.
I would. Yeah, I'd say that there is one, and I wouldn't say it wasn't a get me a foot in the door, but it proved to me that I could do it. And there's geez, I don't know, I have to go back and find it, but Iron Man had come out, and there was this really nice scene of Iron Man with the battle scene, and he's just like all scarred up, and I was just like, I'm gonna figure out how to paint that image. And I just literally just locked myself down and just did that and just focused and focused to try and get like understanding the color. This is where I didn't know how to paint color. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. And I was just like, I'm going to figure out, like, train my eye to be able to translate that image to an actual painting. And then I was able to do it. And that was like, holy crap, I did it. I actually did a thing that looks like the thing that I love. And I think that was where I kind of went like, all right, I think I can do this. If I just keep doing that, I just keep studying the art that I kind of love and like learning how they did that, and then I can do it too. In terms of getting work, I'll say one of the biggest pieces I ever did was I did this Wolverine and Batman piece, and that was my like kind of like big moment to be like, look, I'm going to just go for it and really just put everything into those two paintings. And those were the ones that like 2 months later got me the gig at Upper Deck. So yeah, I'd say sometimes it's just literally putting in the work, doing the art that you believe someone will pay you for. Like, that's probably going to lead to you getting a gig, getting something out of it. It's like every single commission I've gotten from a client has been because I've done something with something of their IP that they've enjoyed, and there's like, hey, we'd like you to try something for us. And that's just literally how it always comes about.
Okay. And is painting, I know you paint, you do digital, obviously you draw. Is sculpturing something that plays a factor in the way you do anything, or an end game sort of thing? Like, you'd like to get into that? Because like Madam in the chat is a sculptor,
Oh, wow.
and
Yeah.
she does some big brass pieces that are planted all across the states. So
Oh, wow.
I know a lot of artists like to express their their visions in every way they can. Is it
Yeah,
something where you want to stick to the paint medium and the pen medium, or?
yeah, I think for now, yeah. Like I said, I do get bored quickly and then I jump onto the next thing. I'm always like looking at the next challenge. But I have done sculpture. Like I did do like kind of like a brief course in sculpture. I was like, oh, this would be kind of fun because I've always loved like the statue sculpts of like superheroes. I'm like, oh, that'd be awesome to do my own, like sculpt my own version of like what Wolverine, right? Like that'd be pretty cool. And it's a lot of fun, and I do love working with my hands, which is another reason why I love the painting, is that it feels like a physical, tangible thing you get to play with. So I probably could see myself doing sculpture again, because I did really enjoy that. But yeah, at the moment, I'm still in this like process where I'm still trying to learn oil painting. So until I feel like I've got that locked down as a kind of like a good skill, I probably might try sculpture. I might try acrylic. I'm going to be doing everything. Whatever time allows, I will probably try. I think creatively, I think that's always I think we can't help ourselves. We try and do a little bit of everything. Like I've done it all. Like I've done videography, photography, like music. I think creatively, like I think when you're a creative person, you kind of just like to dabble in a little bit of everything. Um, yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
there may be a sculpture in the future.
yeah.
Who knows?
Hopefully one day I have a piece somewhere here in the background.
That'd be cool. I would have been admiring your collection. That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive, man. That's
There's
pretty
a
cool.
lot of mess and a lot of stuff everywhere back there, but uh,
No,
it it
it's well organized. At least yours is on display. Most of mine's in boxes, so I prefer that.
yeah, but see, some people freak out because everything is on display.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised, like I've got probably another 30, 40 things that should be out there. I just got no room for them. I got to start culling my collection.
Yeah, that's the painful part. Yeah.
It's just way like I've literally stopped looking at things just because I know if I look I'm gonna buy, and I've just got nowhere to put it.
Yeah. That's smart. That's pretty smart. Delete the eBay app. You'll be fine.
My thing lately is I've been focusing on my books, so trying to get my runs done and
Yeah.
things like that, and just doing the shows in the States. So been there a few times, getting to meet a lot of the artists and the writers. It just gives you a different perspective on the book as well, like
Mm,
just the effort and the time and
yeah.
everything that goes into those sort of things.
Yeah,
So
that's one thing that I feel like, yeah, comic artists are super underappreciated. They work their butts off.
it
Um,
it it is, and it's not that I didn't think it took them time, but I just you never really think about it, and not being the artistic type, it's not something where you think, oh yeah, I could do that in a day.
mm,
Everything seems easy to people who aren't doing it. So you think, yeah, how hard can it be to draw a 20-page book?
very, very hard. I did that 3 times, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this. It's just
Yeah.
it consumes your life. It's a lot. It's a lot. You really have to be. You have to
I,
love it. You have to
you
really
have
love
to
it.
be passionate about it, and
Yeah.
that you can tell like who the people are that are passionate about it. And I found after meeting a lot of the artists and that, like you see like traits, like certain things that the person has to sort of be to be
Mm,
that type of person who's doing that work.
yeah. Yeah.
And like and it varies from like person to person. So meeting like Roy Thomas, and very reserved, passionate about what he did, and that, and then you go speak to someone like Stranko, who just keep talking and talking and talking and about this color and this and where he got the idea for that. And you think, how does anyone like not work with him, but like you can just imagine trying to get the simplest thing out of him being
Mm.
a process.
Yeah,
And
they're completely different people. They're obsessive. I think all artists are in a way. Like we're all trying to kind of like master our craft and always get better and push. But yeah, I think when you look at the workload and the time and the deadlines that they need to deal with, I have massive respect for like interior artists, and yeah, they're just next
I,
level.
I do now more and more, especially since I've been doing the commission covers and the
Mm.
commission pieces. Like you can tell the people that it sort of comes naturally to. Like you see him. I seen Greg Land lay out the piece that he did for me, and it was just like it's like he had an encyclopedia in his head of all these images, and it was just I'm going to page 32 and I'm drawing that image, and he's just ding 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 everything. And then I've seen some other people this.
Yeah,
And
they definitely work that way. If you think about it, if you're doing 20 pages a month, you do a lot of drawings in that month, and then you do that for 12 months straight. You'll reuse similar poses and similar things multiple times. I remember seeing like a Jim Lee doing a drawing, and I think he was drawing Superman or something. It was like a pose, but he's like, oh, this could be anyone. This could be Wolverine. This could be Captain America. It's just I've drawn this pose 100 times with other characters. I can just now do it with Superman, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Yes, definitely have that. Definitely a little bit OCD. I have a space, and no one goes in there, and we have a process that we stick to, and yeah, we will change things a little bit, but yeah, you need to be obsessive, and you need to really love it, I think, to do it. So yeah, it's cool. And you need people to enjoy the work we do, otherwise we don't get paid for it. So you need people like yourself, Sean, out there.
I have to support in the ways I can, because I'll never be able to grab a piece and draw a character. So
never say never. You just have to start.
I can mimic, like I can have a picture in front of me and I can mimic it, but there's no way I'm coming up with that image out of my head by myself.
If you do that image enough times, you'll be able to do it without.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. It's just practice. It's just the same thing over and over.
Yeah, but I'll still be mimicking an image that's committed to mind.
Yeah, I suppose.
So, like you give me something and you tell me to build it. Like I can work out how to build it. I can work out how to change things. But drawing is something that I've like the thoughts that I have in my head never make it to the paper the way they come out of my head. So
it happens to me too. Don't get me wrong. I'll still draw and be like, this isn't what I wanted. This is not.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the thing you drew still look like the thing that
we'll
meant
get
to look like.
It's time spent training, right? We all train in different things.
I'll start drawing Wolverine, and it'll end up looking like Batman.
Yeah.
So
maybe you wanted to draw Batman all along.
It's possible. We'll end off with one last question.
Yeah, man.
What is the next goal that you have set for yourself that you want to achieve? Like, what's the next step?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much my reason for going to San Diego this year is to try and do something on a comic book cover. Like, I'm a huge comic nerd, and I would love to be able to do something. Like, being a cover artist is kind of a job that's almost impossible to try and get. Like, it's only for the big guys, which is fair enough. But that's the goal for me. It's like, if I can do that somehow, then I would be like, well done. All right, I did another good thing. It'd be cool. Yeah.
Okay, and is that goal like, are you just happy being on a cover, or is there like a step process? Like you'd be happy getting on, say, like an indie book, and then getting onto a Marvel.
Yeah. I did get to do an indie cover for a recent Kickstarter for a book called The Few and the Curse for their issue 10 variant. I got to do their Kickstarter exclusive, which was awesome. So I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. And I've been on a few other indie projects, comics, but I'd love to be on like the big two would be amazing. But even like I'd love to work for like Dark Horse or any Image title, like the stuff that I pretty much read, like any of that would be amazing. I kind of am all over the place, so I'd be happy to do any art. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, one last question coming from that. Indie, Dark Horse, say, Image, all that. what's your ultimate character that's not in the big two? Like,
Ooh. Uh, Jeez, I love Mark Miller's works. I'm a big fan of Nemesis, so I'd love to do Nemesis. I think that would be a lot of fun. But you're going through like 100 characters in my head right now, so just Nemesis is popping out. That's one that I was like, I'd love to work on. But yeah, anything from his books would be amazing. And obviously, like any McFarlane like image, like Spawn would be insane. Like to do a Spawn cover. Um, yeah, I don't know. I could go all night. I'm like, and it'd also be amazing too. But yeah, that would be. I think those two would be like pretty. Like Nemesis is a fairly new character to me that I've enjoyed in his books. But yeah, Spawn's been like I've got my Spawn #1 signed by Todd. I would love to do a Spawn one day. That would be so cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, going to SDCC pays off for you.
Yeah.
Get yourself in front of those names and just have a chat. I will also suggest you try Heroes Con.
Yeah, I saw that's happening this weekend, and I was like, I had to pick one. I was like, all right, I'm going to do San Diego this year. Maybe we'll do Heroes next year.
I would say Heroes. I've never been to San Diego to say it thing, but just from the videos I've seen, I think it's too packed and like trying to get yourself in front of the people that you need to get yourself in front of might be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of big names at Heroes Con and a lot of like influential people.
Yeah, I think that might be next year's aim will be going to Heroes, I think. Because that was I'd love to be able to do both this year, but obviously not possible. But yeah, maybe next year, man. I am on the newsletter, so I do see when that comes around. I'll be like applying.
Well, if you're planning on hitting up Heroes, I think Heroes is going to be a con for me to return to. So
hey, you can get together.
You'll know someone there. I can introduce you to a whole bunch of the YouTubers that turn out for that show. So
awesome.
It's one of the popular shows that like 60 YouTubers end up showing up to from all across the states. So
yeah, I do watch a lot of them. Like I will be watching all the vlogs from the show. Because I love seeing like which artists appear and like people getting commissions and stuff. It looks like an awesome show.
It's crazy. Like I went last year, and it's full on. It's 4 days of just any comic book you can think of in the world, you'll find there. Any like I walk past booths, just Amazing Fantasies, 3-4 copies of it. Spider-Man #1s.
Yeah, that's crazy,
X-Men,
right?
and it was just there, like things you thought you'd never see in your life. You're walking up and can get your hands on.
Yeah,
and I did not meet one not bad, but like I didn't get a bad impression of any artist, and I've met a fair amount of them now. There's some that drag it out, like Chris Claremont and Stranko just love to talk, and it's great when you're at the front of the line and they're talking to you. But when you're in the line waiting to speak to them and they're talking for 2 hours to every person, it drags.
It can be rough.
But it's well worth the show and worth the effort going there. So,
well, count me in. I might be tag coming along with you next time around.
We'll have a chat when you're back in Melbourne, and we'll see about hooking it up.
Yeah, awesome, man. That's cool. Well, thanks so much for having me, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you very much for jumping on. Do you have anything coming out that people can look forward to?
Nothing that's not under NDA. Everything's under NDA. So yes, but I can't say anything about it. But there'll definitely be more from me coming in the next year or so. So yeah, I'll look out for it when I can say something about it.
I'll try my best to keep the people updated on stuff that's coming from you when you can update me.
Yeah, man.
And we'll let you know. And we'll see. Maybe I might end up with another box, and we'll see what we do.
Yeah,
But
maybe grab platinum next time around. Maybe you have a better chance with that one.
you want me to spend a bit more money?
What do you mean? No, no, man. Geez, they're but let's hope there's a sale going around because I need to grab one as well. But yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
I haven't. I don't think I've seen the platinums either. Anyway.
Yeah, they're less like those are kind of like the chase ones. That was like the biggest set of the year last year. So yeah, that's the one that everyone's still breaking.
Well, if I get lucky enough to get my hands on one, I'll do it.
I would suggest you not, because the odds on that one pulling one of mine, it's like there's only 5 of my pieces in that, so like good luck trying to get one.
Yeah, but there's a good enough chance that if I get any decent card in that box, I'm going to make my money back.
That's true.
I would say compared to the Flair, it's a little bit harder, but we'll see how things go. But all right, Ben's Instagram, X, and website are all linked in the description. If you don't already follow him, go find him on Instagram, follow him for awesome shorts of his art pieces, and see all the shows that he attends. He does a lot of the local shows in Australia. And
I'll be in Supernova this weekend, Sydney. So if anyone wants to come by, come around. And yeah, all my socials are at Ben Bradi, so easy to find.
Thank you, Locke.
Well, indeed. Thanks, Locke.
And to everyone who watched, thank you for watching. Thank you to everyone in the chat. If you don't already, click the like, subscribe. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome, dude.